Teaching in the hybrid format, clarity, communication, and course design. NCC defines hybrid classes as follows. Students split learning between face-to-face and online. That means that 50% of the class is completed on campus and 50% is completed online. Students will come to campus at least one day per week for their in-person, face-to-face class during the scheduled class time in Workday. Students engage in other required course activities and assignments online through Brightspace, meeting deadlines set by the instructor. Exams may be on campus during scheduled class times or proctored online. Here are examples of what students see when they look for hybrid courses in Workday. As you can see on the left side of the top image, students are able to search for courses based off of delivery mode. Here's an example of a student looking for a hybrid course. On the right side of that screen, Workday provides an explanation of what each modality means. Here, hybrid is defined as meets on campus or physical location, but also requires online work. Through these screenshots, we are able to see that students are presented with the basic information on how a hybrid course meets. Here is a breakdown of the required instructional time for hybrid courses. As you can see, all faculty are required to provide 2,250 instructional minutes for a 3-credit course. That is the equivalent of 37.5 hours of instructional time per 3-credit class. It's important to know that this time will increase for a 4-credit course and courses with labs. A rough breakdown for instructional time is that 50% of that time will be spent in the classroom, and the other 50% of that time should be completed online. This will differ for some credit courses that have labs, such as the lecture component may be fully online, leaving the lab component to be completed in person. With that in mind, it's important to remember that the on-campus and online components are to be complementary, meaning that they should build off each other and work together to support student learning. Also, it's important to remember that this instructional time is the same for all 3-credit courses, no matter what semester they are in. Finally, you should also make it clear to your students that for every hour of instructional time, there will likely be 2 to 3 hours of coursework to be completed outside of the class. Here are a few suggestions to help you meet the instructional time for the asynchronous component of your hybrid course. You could provide recorded lectures or instructional videos. You could provide a video or documentary for your class to view that has a required moderated discussion post, as any discussion board facilitated by the instructor counts for instructional time. Group work and shared projects are another unique way that you could have students work together while meeting the instructional requirements for the course. Along with these components are many of the tasks that you already complete each week for your asynchronous course, such as sending out weekly announcements that contain course content, or your grading feedback and comments included in grading quizzes and exams, and of course, your set office hours. You may also provide a synchronous meeting held online throughout the week. However, it's important to remember that these meetings can never be a requirement for your students and must be recorded and promptly posted on Brightspace for them to view. It is also important to remember that there are components of your course that do not count towards instructional time. These include items such as coursework or readings completed outside of the classroom, any podcasts or external videos that do not have a required moderated discussion post attached to them, any writing assignments that are completed outside of class time, such as papers, essays, or lit reviews, and also assignments such as problem sets or lab reports. While these are important components of any course, and you should have between 2 to 3 hours of coursework for every hour of instruction, these items will not count towards the required instructional time. Now that we know what is and is not considered instructional time, we can more effectively plan our courses. And in doing so, we should remember and lean into the strengths of each aspect of a hybrid course. For example, in-person instruction allows you to showcase your interest and enthusiasm in the subject while also picking up on the nonverbal cues of your students sitting in their desks. Online instruction allows for prolonged conversation between the professor, the students, and their peers, while also providing more touch points for you as an instructor to provide commentary and feedback throughout the week. Now it is time for you to implement your plan for hybrid instruction. Here are 2 examples on how you might approach this modality. In one approach, you can show a short video lecture or have moderated discussion boards online to introduce key concepts and topics early in the week, and then use the in-person session to really focus in on complex material. The alternate example would be to use in-person instruction early in the week to provide a general overview of the content, while then asking students to focus in on important topics in the discussion boards online for the rest of the week. No matter what approach you choose, it's important to be consistent and establish a clear weekly routine so that your students do not get lost along the way. Thank you for watching Teaching in the Hybrid Format, Clarity, Communication, and Course Design, and best of luck with your hybrid course.